Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be getting the Dakota and the last coat of primer on the doors. That way we can do the final sanding, get it ready for paint tomorrow. Alright, so I wanted to show you guys a couple things. We're changing our plan a little bit. We're probably going to end up priming this whole passenger side door as well. I went to sand it kind of just to see where we're at. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but we sanded through the clear into the physical paint color coat itself. And if you try to paint over that, the new paint will react to it and kind of bubble and do some weird things. So generally, you don't want to paint over color coat. You want your primer to blend into clear coat. So we have to make that happen here, which means probably repriming this whole door. So I think that will end up pushing us back for paint a day, which means today we'll prime, tomorrow we'll end up blocking everything, making sure it's good to go, and day after tomorrow we'll be painting this. Alright, so today got detoured pretty hard. We were getting ready to prime, but then John got delayed and called, and I guess now we're about to go on another adventure. And we will see what time we're picking this back up, if we're going to today, or I don't really know what the plan is at this point. Alright, so we took our field trip for today.
We did. It was a waste of time, too.
So the lift didn't work out, as you'll see in his video. But the good news is we should be back home in time to get the Dakota primed in.
Yeah, I know, I wasted our time, but honestly, well, you can tell more of the story if you want, but it was supposed to be legit. The guy literally lied to us. He's a car guy that apparently, he hosts car meets. He has a Corvette shop or repair shop, supposedly. And they went through all the trouble of painting the whole thing, but they didn't notice that the main component on the thing, the hydraulic ram, was literally puking all over the place. Like, it was, you saw the puddle underneath it.
I don't know that I'd get our Corvettes repaired there.
No, that place is shady as hell. It only has like 3.5 stars on Yelp. I checked before I came.
Oh, geez.
I literally said that to you though. I'm like, dude, I'm like, if this guy has a bunch of car buddies, you would think that he would have sold the lift to one of his car friends, but obviously it's messed up and he's trying to just pawn it off on Facebook Marketplace. So he didn't get us though. We weren't the fools today.
Exactly. So John's over here reading the reviews.
Yeah, they only got 3.5 stars on Yelp.
There's some nasty reviews on that little oil change place.
Yeah, so there's I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but essentially this one person said they went in. They charged them $200 for an oil change and then didn't tighten the oil filter and then grenaded their engine, and they refused to pay for the engine. They said they would only cover the cost of labor.
Look at that back there.
What is that?
I don't know.
The Kmart that they were tearing down?
They're demolishing that thing.
Poor thing. And there's just like countless 1-star reviews. What's another one? Let's look for another saucy one. Here we go. Well, that's way too long. Brought my car here for master cylinder, blah, 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 blah. Here, let's. Warning. Andre, owner of Insti-Tune and Lube, had said that he had 1969 Corvette motor for sale, so I had bought it and paid him to install it in my 1977. I had questioned him numerous times over the next few months as I continued to have issues with the motor and its lack of power. The motor did not seem to have the power the 1969 Corvette motor should. Andre's only response said that I may have to change out the gear in the rear to do this. Then decided to check the numbers on the block, and it turned out to be a motor from 1979 or 1980 Chevette. Or no, not Chevette. Oh, Chevy, not even a Corvette. When I brought this to his attention, he said if I wanted to know about the motor, I should have checked into it. Oh, that's dirty. I texted him back and said that I didn't check it because I trusted him. Then I got a text that said this number has been blocked. Damn, he blocked his ass. I also heard that he was going around telling people that I want something for nothing when all I want was what I was advertised. And I bought and paid for a 1969 Corvette motor. This motor would have had 300 plus horsepower, not 195 horsepower that this one has, which isn't much different than the one I had taken out. I paid $2,500 for the motor. Damn!
Oh, they got taken.
And another $1,000 for labor for them to put it in. At this point, he wasn't going to make it right, so the only thing I feel I can do is to let other people know about my experience at Andre with Insti-Tune and Lube.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those on there.
It sounds like we dodged a bullet with this lift.
He specializes in lube and the thing's leaking. Come on. Literally onto the sign it says lube. You would think you would notice an oil leak.
How do you bomb an oil change? Like,
oh my god. And then like the reservoir, the tank on the thing, remember it was all painted over? I'm like, how do you check the fluid on this?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you need to build a dipstick now.
All right, we're back from our adventure with John. So we will be taping this off, blowing a little primer on it. All right, so we just about have the truck taped off. We have a little bit more to do, but to give an update, we're getting ready to spray some 2K primer. And to clear up a couple comments, we are spraying 2K primer out of a spray gun, not in a can. The only thing we ever do in a can would be etch primer. Just because in a pinch you want to get a good coating on something, that way it doesn't rust. You know, as y'all have seen, it tends to rain most afternoons in Florida. As far as Bondo on metal, a lot of people were talking about that. And in kind of the older days, they used to think that was the way to do it. But when I was going through tech school and everything, they couldn't emphasize to us enough to have some sort of coating over the metal first. As y'all saw, it rusted underneath on this Dakota. Back in kind of the late 80s is when they decided that putting it over bare metal wasn't a good thing necessarily, because you get the corrosion underneath it. But usually even the product websites like Bondo and whatnot, they say for the best adhesion and corrosion protection, you want to have some sort of epoxy coating on it, an etch primer, something on the bare metal first. So here we are, we got the Dakota primed back in again. That way tomorrow we can do the final blocking on the doors. They should be ready for paint. We went ahead and primed this one fender because John got this one done with all the roof certs yesterday. The reason we primed this fender, even though it was good, dent-free, we had that chameleon paint under here. And if we just paint the intense blue paint over that, the flake from all the chameleon would shine through and kind of distort our color a little bit. So we are trying to get rid of that. From there, we went ahead and primed this back in down here, the bottom of the bed, where we had that damage down here. So from there, we can go ahead and block that out again. It will be that much closer to paint. And as you can see, we primed this door in as well. So we should be just about ready for paint. And that will just about do it for the Dakota for today. So that's really about where the work on today's video ends. So when I was in trade school for auto collision repair, that's pretty much when they drove it into us that you do not put Bondo over bare metal anymore. As kind of older practices that some people did, but they were trying to phase out of. But also, you gotta think, all that Bondo that was on that truck, I literally filled everything back in with that one golf ball size of Bondo that I showed y'all mixing in the video. That's all the Bondo that's back on that truck. Everything else pretty much just blocked out of it. It's just kind of wild that somebody went to that extent that they did on that truck when it really didn't need it. But different times, I guess. So tomorrow we should be picking back up on the usual videos. Nothing too crazy planned that I know of just yet. Although I was teasing John on the way home because he had the money for the lift and we had a wrecker on standby. we've kind of been joking back and forth about getting another project car, doing like a Chrysler 300 build off or something stupid like that. So pretty much every day we end up sending each other marketplace listings back and forth with some random car that's for sale. And I think it was last night I sent him a 300 that was out near where we were for like $1,200 that need a motor. So I was teasing him about that on the way home. So let John know in the comments down below if y'all want to see him get like a Chrysler 300 like mine, or a Charger RT of the same generation, something like that. Anyways, be sure to like, subscribe, and do notifications. And obviously go check out John's videos. Today should be pretty interesting. Anyways, thank you all for your support. We greatly appreciate it.